welcome to my channel. My name is Malachi, and at this point I've had 4 surgeries on my shoulders, and each time I've been able to come back stronger than I was before. And so in this video, I wanted to break down what I do whenever I do have an injury that comes up during my training or just within life, so that I can continue to work out without like messing up my program too much, but being able to tweak it to not affect the injury as much anymore. The first thing I always have to do is at least give gratitude to the fact that I was able to work with such amazing people. Whenever I was in college, I had athletic trainers that were always there to be able to help me along the journey and different things like that. And from working with them, I've learned the best practices to be able to ensure that you have the fastest recovery time, especially whenever it comes to shoulders. And recently I dislocated my shoulder again. And so that was the inspiration for me making this video. Obviously, if you have like a super bad injury or something like that, like listen to your doctor. But like if it's something that's like either you mess up your shoulder or twisted an ankle or something like that, like you can continue to work out. You don't need to use it as an excuse to not go to the gym anymore. I know too many people who start going to the gym and they start seeing a little bit of progress and then they get injured and they just immediately stop going to the gym entirely. And they're like, oh, my shoulders hurt, like I can't work out. And then they start to fall back into their old frequency, the one that built the body that they work so hard to start getting away from. And then they start just falling back into the same old habits. And so one thing that I always tell people whenever they do go through some type of setback within their fitness journey or just within life is like, there's always a positive to any situation. No matter how many times you look for a negative reason as to why something is bad, you can always find just as many positive reasons as to why this thing can be good. And so this is something that I always teach my clients. It's just like align and design when you're in the morning. And what that is a process where you align yourself with the highest version of yourself and the version of yourself that you want to become. And you design your day around you being able to act in accordance with that version of yourself that you've created. And when you do that, whenever anything quote unquote negative happens, every time it happens, you allow yourself to be able to change it into a benefit. You can say, how can this work in my benefit? How can this be a blessing in disguise? And so, for instance, whenever I dislocated my shoulder, I said, how can this be a blessing in disguise? Right now, I'm in the process of going extremely hard in my training. I'm trying to cut down from 10% body fat to 8% body fat. I'm pushing myself. I'm trying to be able to do this in the fastest way possible and just the most sustainable way. And when I messed up my shoulder, at first I was upset. I was like, this is going to take me off progress and different things like that. And what I did was I did that exercise. I said, how can this be a blessing in disguise? And I said, oh, well, I can focus more on my legs and I can really focus on toning my abs and then just really make sure like as I'm going through these workouts, I focus more on my form instead of ego lifting. I know a lot of people that will just go in and they'll say, oh, I can pinch XYZ amount. And then you look at their form and it's all broken and it's not really giving them the best benefit. And I was doing that. I was starting to do that the more I was trying to push myself to lift these heavier weights. And because of it, I injured my shoulder because I was not using the form that I know I should. And so use this as a reminder that just like there's always a benefit whenever you have some type of setback. You can always figure out a way to be able to have that setback pull you further forward whenever you get back in the game. And so in terms of how I actually structure my workouts now, what I do is I was on an upper lower split and it was a 5-day split. So 3 uppers, 2 lowers. And so what I've done is I've actually just taken out all of my upper splits for right now. And now I'm doing 2 lower splits. And then I do 3 days where it's strictly cardio, abs, and arms. And so instead of me having to worry about injuring myself further, I take out the exercises that'll put me at the most harm. And then during those days where it's cardio, arms, and things like that, I'll put in mobility. So it's just like stretching and like getting my shoulder stronger as it's starting to heal itself. And so all of it, it's just meticulously done to where it's just like, okay, like I will continue to strengthen it and I'm not just going to let it sit there just because it's injured. And does it hurt a little bit? Yes, but it also helps me be able to not just have my arm sit there like a vegetable just because it's injured. It's something that like all of my trainers have taught me to do. And it's something that has always helped me whenever my shoulders do start to hurt, just take a little break, take a step back on that area, but then push harder in the other area. So with my legs, I'm lifting heavier and focusing on my form more now because I've taken that lesson from what I did to my shoulder. And with cardio, it's more so just like increasing how many steps I'm getting in within my day, running more, different things like that, and just really making sure I'm moving my body, because my goal is still the same and I'm going to get there regardless. The thing is, it's just how I plan to get there has now changed. And so that's something that you have to learn to be able to do whenever you are on the path to pursuing your fitness goals or whatever goal you're chasing. Within life, life will give you everything that you want, but for you to say that you need it to be given to you in a certain way is silly. Your job is not to control the life around you. Your life is to coordinate with what life is giving you and figuring out a way to be able to make one step back turn into two steps forward, or whatever the hell you want to say it is. And so that's how I always continue to push myself further, like even after I've gotten an injury or anything like that. And so if you have an injury with your training, then instead of just completely stopping, what you should do is just focus on like, hey, what can I work out? What can I work out? What can I do still? And then you say, how can I 10x that? Like, how can I get the biggest amount of results from that? And then obviously you stay on top of your nutrition. You should not let your nutrition go to shit, and just continue to do the things that you have in place, and just push yourself in the things that you can and be smart with the things that you can. And so like that's typically what I do. It's super simple. Just adjust. You don't have to stop. You just adjust. And the more you adjust and the more you continue to focus on the things that you can control, the easier this journey will be. Because whenever you're getting in shape, it's not something that you should just be like, okay, well, like I want to do it for X amount of time. It should be something that you want to do for the long run, because getting in shape and staying healthy is not only a benefit for you, but also the people around you. You're able to provide for your family more, people respect you more, and all of the benefits that come from staying in shape. So this is something that should be a long-term game instead of a short-term game. So don't hurt yourself. Like, don't intentionally put yourself at risk for injuries. And then if you do get an injury, just make sure that you're not using it as an excuse to fall back into your old frequency. You should continue to push yourself and continue to do the things that you can, so that you can continue growing within your fitness journey. And so those are what I do. Again, I've had 4 shoulder surgeries at this point, and this is what I do every single time. I just adjust my workout plan. I do not stop. I adjust my workout plan. I figure out what I can't do, and then I double down on those things, and I give myself time to be able to recover fully so that I can hit the weights again even harder than I was before. And so be smart with your training. And if you have any questions, I'm gonna leave my Instagram down below. Just give me a follow, share through my previous content. I have some things in there. And then if you have any like personal questions or anything like that that you want my help with, just shoot me a DM. I always respond to my DMs and I can help you there. All right, peace.